Tonight, my dear friends, we journey back to a time when the world was young, when gods walked the earth, and the very first flickers of human understanding began to glow. We settle our minds upon the gentle story of Prometheus, a wise titan who dared to dream a different future for humankind, a future illuminated by a stolen, precious light. Let us now close our eyes and imagine a world veiled in soft, ancient mists, where the earth was still finding its rhythm and the rivers sang their inaugural songs. Long, long ago, even before the grand halls of Olympus were fully established and gleaming with divine light, the cosmos itself was a swirling tapestry of burgeoning life and profound mysteries. From the vast, echoing void, ancient beings emerged, primordial forces that shaped the very fabric of existence. Gaia, the nurturing earth, sprawled beneath the boundless, star-dusted dome of Uranos, the sky. And from their timeless union sprang the first generation of powerful beings, the Titans. These magnificent giants, with their immense strength, their deep connection to the earth's raw power, and their ancient, patient wisdom, ruled the nascent world. Their reigns were long, their power immense, their presence a part of the very landscape. Yet even their era eventually yielded to a new, vibrant order. For from their own lineage, through a series of epic struggles and cosmic shifts, rose the Olympians, led by the mighty and formidable Zeus, who, with his siblings, eventually established his dominion high above the clouds, upon the majestic, snow-capped peaks of Mount Olympus. The world was thus divided. The ancient Titans, though many had fallen from power, still held sway over certain deep domains and secret places, while the younger, dynamic Olympians commanded the radiant heavens and the bustling earth below, each vying for influence and establishing their own grand narratives. This was the stage, dear listener, upon which our gentle story unfolds. Here, in this newly ordered world, a profound and intricate task was given to two brothers, Titans themselves, though they possessed a unique wisdom and had chosen to align with Zeus during the great shift of power. Their names were Prometheus, a name whispered with reverence, meaning forethought, for his mind was always on what was to come, and his brother, Epimetheus, whose name, often chuckled over, meant afterthought, for his nature was to act first and ponder later. Zeus, in his grand design for the burgeoning world, or perhaps in a moment of detached amusement, commissioned these brothers to populate the earthly realms with living creatures, each endowed with qualities to help them thrive. Epimetheus, with his eager, open-hearted, and somewhat impulsive nature, set about his task with immense enthusiasm and childlike delight. He poured out his generosity without restraint, bestowing upon the animals of the world a wondrous and diverse array of gifts. To some, he gave mighty claws and formidable teeth, perfect for hunting and defending their territories. To others, he granted swift, powerful wings to soar through the boundless skies, or sleek, agile fins to glide gracefully through the deep, mysterious oceans. He clothed many in thick, insulating fur for warmth against the bitter cold, others in shimmering scales for protection, and granted some incredible speed and agility to flee from danger. He poured out his generosity upon every creature he touched, ensuring each had a special endowment, a natural advantage, a unique blessing in the wild and untamed world. He was so completely absorbed in his joyful work, so delighted in the act of giving, so caught up in the immediate pleasure of creation, that he did not pause, not even for a fleeting moment, to consider the future, nor to save a single gift for the last beings he was meant to fashion. And then, dear listener, he came to the last of his creations, humankind. By the time Prometheus turned his attention to these beings, so different from the animals, so full of nascent, unspoken potential, he realized with a quiet, dawning horror that he had nothing left to give. All the protective fur, all the formidable swiftness, all the brute strength, all the sharp defenses had been distributed, scattered amongst the beasts of the earth, the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea. Humanity was left naked, utterly vulnerable, and completely exposed to the harsh, indifferent elements of the world. Prometheus, watching his brother's grievous oversight with his keen, foreseeing eyes, felt a deep sense of sadness mingled with an immense responsibility. He saw these new beings, fashioned in a form that, remarkably, resembled the gods themselves, yet they were frail, shivering constantly in the biting cold, bewildered by the vast, untamed wilderness that surrounded them. They huddled together in dark, damp caves, their small bodies pressed against the cold stone, trembling at every rustle of leaves, every distant howl of an unseen beast. Their lives were short, filled with constant hunger, gnawing cold, and unpervasive, unending fear. They were devoid of the natural comforts and defenses that other creatures enjoyed so freely. They did not know how to protect themselves from the bitter, whispering winds, nor how to chase away the encroaching, terrifying shadows of the night. Their food was raw and difficult to digest, their hands empty of tools, and their future seemed shrouded in endless struggle, a cycle of survival with no clear path to flourishing. A profound quiet, heavy with concern, fell upon Prometheus as he observed their desperate, silent plight. He watched their suffering, and a deep longing to help them took root in his ancient heart. Prometheus, the wise Titan, was not like many of the other powerful beings of that ancient age, nor even entirely like the Olympians in his unique and profound outlook. While many gods and titans concerned themselves primarily with their own immense power, their own radiant grandeur, and the intricate, often turbulent workings of the cosmos, Prometheus's gaze was often fixed upon the small, struggling figures below him on the earth. He saw in humanity not mere playthings, not simply subjects to rule over, but a fragile, nascent beauty, an untapped capacity for wonder, for creation, for profound thought and innovation. He perceived the potential for deep thought, for the nuanced expression of language, for the creation of intricate art, for the weaving of stories, and for the powerful, complex emotion of love, all of which lay dormant, stifled by their fundamental helplessness and constant struggle for survival. His heart, ancient and vast, yet surprisingly tender, swelled with a profound and consuming empathy. He knew with an unshakable certainty that if humanity were to ever truly flourish, to rise above mere existence, to evolve beyond simple survival, they would need something more than just resilience. They would need something transformative, a catalyst to unlock their hidden potential. They needed a gift that would ignite their inner spark, a powerful tool that would allow them to master their environment rather than simply endure its harshness. He pictured them not as they were, but as they could be, if only given a chance. And he knew exactly what that crucial gift should be. Fire. The dancing, flickering, transformative, and endlessly fascinating element. Fire would bring vital warmth against the biting, merciless cold that gnawed at their bones. It would offer radiant light to pierce the terrifying, all-consuming darkness, chasing away the shadows where their fears lurked. And it would provide powerful protection from the predatory beasts that prowled the night, their eyes gleaming in the gloom. Moreover, it held the promise of so much more. It would allow them to cook their food, making it more digestible, more nourishing, and infinitely more palatable. An act that would fundamentally change their relationship with sustenance. Eventually, it would enable them to shape stubborn metals, to craft sophisticated tools, to build sturdy homes, and ultimately, to forge the very foundations of a complex civilization. It was, in his wise estimation, the singular key to unlocking their dormant destiny. But there was a grave, formidable obstacle. Zeus, the mighty king of Olympus, the Thunderer, had expressly and unequivocally forbidden fire to mortals. He believed that such a potent and divine force would make them too powerful, too ambitious, perhaps even audacious enough to challenge the gods themselves. He wished for humanity to remain humble, to be dependent upon the divine will, and to remain subservient, living simple, manageable lives without the means to aspire to or challenge any divine authority. To Zeus, fire was a sacred divine preserve, a treasure of the gods, absolutely not meant for frail, mortal hands. It was part of the cosmic order he had so fiercely fought to establish and maintain. This absolute divine decree, spoken with the authority of the king of the gods, weighed immensely heavily on Prometheus's expansive soul. He honored Zeus, his king, and understood the delicate, precarious balance of power and the intricate cosmic order that Zeus strived so hard to maintain. Yet his gaze would always, inevitably, return to the shivering, helpless humans below, their small forms huddled against the vast, indifferent world. He saw their silent pleas, their unconscious yearning for something more than just meager, fearful existence. The conflict within him was immense and agonizing. Would he uphold his loyalty to his divine family and the established order? Or would he follow the powerful, insistent call of compassion for his fragile, suffering creations? Each passing day, as he watched them shiver from the cold, hunger for sustenance, and tremble with fear, the choice, though dangerous, became clearer and more profound. He simply could not stand idly by and witness their endless, innocent suffering, knowing with every fiber of his being that there was a way to alleviate it, a way to lift them up. The spark of defiance, a quiet, resolute ember, fueled by an even stronger, hotter spark of love for humanity, began to glow intensely within his own mighty heart. He made his decision, a silent, solemn vow whispered to himself and to the nascent, hopeful spirit of humankind. He would defy the heavens for the sake of the earth. He would bring them fire. With a calm and deeply resolute spirit, a quiet determination radiating from his ancient eyes, Prometheus began his solitary ascent to the lofty, cloud-piercing peaks of Mount Olympus. The air up here was crisp and pure, carrying the faint, sweet scent of ambrosia, the divine food of the gods, and the distant, often echoing sound of divine laughter or the low murmur of important discussions. He moved quietly, his massive, powerful form seeming to blend almost imperceptibly into the ethereal mists that often shrouded the god's magnificent dwelling place, making him appear as if he were merely a part of the mountain itself. He knew with absolute certainty that the profound task he was about to undertake was fraught with immense and terrible danger, a direct and unequivocal challenge to the absolute authority of Zeus, the king of the gods. But his deep conviction, born of true empathy, was stronger than any personal fear. His mind was set, his purpose unwavering. He would bring the life-giving light, the warmth of the sun in miniature, to the dark, cold corners of the mortal world, no matter the personal cost. He knew precisely where the sacred flames resided, not in the raging, fiery forge of Hephaestus, the smith god, which would be far too conspicuous and too difficult to approach unnoticed, but in a more subtle, yet equally powerful and sacred place. A place where the essence of divine fire burned eternally, a heart of warmth at the very center of Olympus. Prometheus sought out the celestial hearth, the very heart of Olympian warmth and light, a place of profound peace and sacred energy, where a perpetual gentle fire glowed with an eternal, steady flame. This sacred hearth was meticulously maintained by the goddess Hestia herself, the kindest and most serene of the Olympians, guardian of the home and family. It was a flame of purity, a symbol of divine energy, calm and ever-present, radiating a soft, benevolent warmth that permeated the entire divine abode. He approached this hallowed place with utmost reverence, not with the intention to steal in anger or malice, but rather to borrow with a clear, selfless purpose, driven by a profound need to help. No god or goddess was immediately near, for they were engaged in their grand affairs, their minds far removed from the small, shivering creatures below, their concerns focused on the intricate tapestries of cosmic governance and personal dramas. With gentle, practiced hands that had shaped life itself, Prometheus reached into the sacred flame. He did not grab or tear at the fire, but rather, with meticulous care and a tender touch, he plucked a single, tiny spark, no larger than a brilliant dewdrop, yet pulsating with immense, ancient, life-giving power. He held it carefully, feeling its profound warmth sing softly against his broad palm, a small universe of energy contained within his grasp. To carry this precious divine ember, this secret heart of warmth, Prometheus had wisely brought with him a long, hollow stalk of the giant fennel plant. This humble plant, common upon the earth and seemingly innocuous, possessed a pithy, fibrous interior that could smolder for a very long time without ever bursting into open, revealing flame, thus making it the perfect, inconspicuous vessel for his precious, stolen cargo. It was a natural, unassuming disguise for such a magnificent and dangerous treasure. With infinite tenderness and extreme caution, he carefully placed the brilliant spark deep within the hollow of the fennel stalk, sealing it away from immediate view, yet allowing its profound warmth to be preserved, a secret glow within. He held the stalk close, cradling it like a sacred relic, a quiet, fervent promise of a brighter future for those he loved so dearly. Then, as silently and gracefully as he had arrived amidst the mists of Olympus, Prometheus began his solitary descent from the radiant heights of the gods. He moved through the twilight skies, a lone, determined, and almost ghost-like figure, carrying the secret of life-giving light down to a world still steeped in deep, unforgiving shadows. The long journey was arduous, but his resolve remained unwavering, fueled by the tiny, hidden spark that pulsed gently in his hand. He found them, as he always did, huddled in a deep, cold, and desolate cavern, their small, weary faces etched with resignation and profound fear. It was a small group of early humans, their eyes wide with perpetual terror as the distant moon offered only its weak, indifferent light, doing little to dispel the gloom. They shivered constantly, their breath misting visibly in the bitter, cold air, their frail bodies pressed tightly together for the meager, fleeting warmth that offered little true comfort. Prometheus stepped gently into their midst, his towering, benevolent shadow falling softly over them, a stark contrast to the oppressive darkness. He held out the fennel stalk, and from its seemingly dry and innocent exterior, a faint, almost invisible wisp of smoke curled delicately upwards, carrying with it the subtle, intriguing scent of warmth and something entirely new. The humans, at first startled by his sudden, silent presence, then gazed with bewildered, uncertain eyes at the slender stick in the Titan's immense hand. They had never, in their short, hard lives, seen or imagined anything remotely like it. It was a mystery, a silent question in the deep, cold night. With quiet, unhurried patience, a patience born of ancient wisdom and boundless love, Prometheus knelt amongst them on the cold, damp cave floor. He carefully gathered some dry leaves, fragile blades of grass, and brittle twigs, explaining with soft, deliberate gestures what he was about to do. He showed them how to prepare the kindling, how to arrange it just so, to catch the coming heat. Gently, with a tender breath, he blew upon the tiny, hidden ember within the fennel stalk, coaxing it, nurturing it, willing it to glow brighter, to pulse with a more visible, energetic heart of light. Then, with an almost magical touch, he brought the glowing ember to the dry kindling. A collective gasp, a unified, trembling shudder, went through the small, huddled group as a small, tentative flame flickered into being, dancing hesitantly before them. It was unlike anything they had ever witnessed. A living, breathing light that was not the distant sun, nor the pale moon, nor a terrifying flash of lightning. It was contained, controllable, and utterly mesmerizing, painting their wide, astonished faces with its flickering, golden glow. Fear, deep-seated and ancient, slowly, almost imperceptibly, began to give way to an overwhelming, profound sense of wonder. Their hearts beat a little faster, not with terror, but with a dawning awe. Prometheus stayed with them through that first miraculous night and the days that followed, patiently teaching them how to tend the precious flame, how to feed it with carefully chosen wood, how to protect it from the relentless wind and the drenching rain. He showed them how its consistent warmth could chase away the biting cold that had always plagued their existence, and how its radiant glow pushed back the terrifying darkness, causing the eyes of nocturnal predators to retreat nervously into the deeper shadows, giving them a measure of safety they had never known. They watched, utterly fascinated, as he placed a piece of raw meat, once tough and cold, near the comforting heat, and when it sizzled and cooked, a new, enticing aroma filled the cave, a smell that promised sustenance and comfort. A new, complex taste awakened their senses, transforming a mere act of eating into something more pleasurable, more nourishing. Their bodies, once cramped, tense, and perpetually cold, began to relax and unfurl in the comforting, encompassing glow. Their faces, once grim and etched with fear, began to soften, reflecting the dancing light, revealing expressions of dawning curiosity and nascent hope. A silent revolution, dear listener, had begun. Not with a roar of thunder, but with a gentle, warming glow that spread from heart to heart, from cave to cave. It was a beacon in their formerly desolate world. With the gift of fire, a new and transformative era dawned for humankind. The long, terrifying, and often lonely nights became not just tolerable, but communal, even joyful. Stories, once whispered in the dark, were now shared around the bright, crackling hearth, weaving threads of connection between souls. Plans for the next day, for hunting and gathering, were quietly whispered in the flickering light, fostering collaboration and foresight. They learned to harden wood by charring it, to bake pliable clay into sturdy pots and vessels, and eventually, with greater ingenuity, to smelt raw ores from the earth and forge simple, effective tools. The mastery of fire allowed them to expand their dwellings, building more enduring shelters beyond the cold caves, to venture further into the unknown wilderness, to protect their families more effectively, and to begin, slowly but surely, to transform the very landscape around them to suit their needs. Their minds, once dulled by constant fear and the relentless demands of mere survival, now sharpened with ingenuity, curiosity, and a growing sense of purpose. They looked at the world with new eyes, eyes that had seen the impossible, eyes that held the incredible promise of an unimaginable future. The gift of fire was not just heat and light. It was hope. It was knowledge. It was the very spark that ignited reason, innovation, and the profound, beautiful foundation of civilization itself. It was the awakening of humanity. High above, upon the majestic, cloud-wreathed heights of Mount Olympus, the mighty Zeus sat upon his thunderous, gem-encrusted throne. His divine senses, sharp and all-seeing, capable of perceiving every shift in the cosmic balance, soon detected a profound and undeniable shift in the mortal world below. He saw the countless plumes of smoke rising steadily and purposefully from countless human settlements, observed the strange, flickering glows that now pierced the vast, inky blackness of the night, defying the natural order he had so meticulously established. His gaze, usually calm and regal, overseeing the universe with detached authority, narrowed into a formidable, formidable stare. He knew, with a certainty that chilled the divine air, what these fires meant. They were not natural occurrences, not lightning strikes nor volcanic eruptions. They were the forbidden gift, the sacred flame he had explicitly withheld from mortal hands. He was furious, not simply at the transgression itself, but at the audacious, unthinking defiance it represented. His will, the very foundation of his cosmic law, had been openly challenged, his supreme authority undermined. Who among the gods or titans would dare to contravene his sacred, ancient decree? The very order of the universe, as he saw it, felt threatened by this single, audacious act. It did not take long for Zeus, with his all-encompassing sight, to trace the source of this profound and unsettling rebellion. His wrath, though mighty and capable of shaking the very heavens, was, in this moment, tempered by the gravity of the situation and a deep sense of personal betrayal. He summoned Prometheus to his grand, echoing hall, where the air crackled with unspoken tension. The wise Titan stood before the king of the gods, his massive form exuding a quiet dignity, his head held high, his expression calm, unwavering, and utterly resolute. He did not deny his actions. There was no attempt to evade or conceal. Instead, with a profound and quiet dignity that belied the danger he faced, he explained his reasons, speaking not of defiance, but of deepest compassion. He spoke eloquently of humanity's suffering, their inherent vulnerability, and their immense, innate potential that lay dormant, waiting to be kindled. He spoke of the powerful, compelling force of empathy, of his far-seeing foresight, and of a love for his creations so deep and so consuming that it compelled him to defy even the highest authority, even the king of the gods. But Zeus, his heart set on upholding the cosmic order, saw only insolence, only a brazen challenge to his rule, and a profound betrayal of the trust he had once placed in the Titan. To allow such a challenge to stand, he believed, would invite chaos, unraveling the very fabric of his dominion and upsetting the delicate balance between gods and mortals. The lines had been crossed, and a price had to be paid. Zeus, the powerful arbiter of fate and justice, whose decrees shaped destinies, pronounced a punishment as ancient and unyielding as the mountains themselves. Prometheus was to be chained, not in a dark dungeon, but to a desolate, wind-swept peak in the far-off Caucasus Mountains. An unforgiving landscape where the elements raged with wild, untamed fury. There, high above the world he had sought to uplift, he would face a profound, unending consequence for his singular act of boundless empathy and his daring defiance. Each day, not in graphic detail, but simply as a symbolic, quiet reminder of his sacrifice and his enduring spirit, a great eagle, a majestic bird of prey, would journey across the vast skies to visit him. This constant, daily presence underscored his profound sacrifice, a silent testament to his unyielding will. Prometheus, though bound by unbreakable chains, endured this immense fate with an unyielding spirit, his resolve never wavering. His mighty body might be held captive, but his brilliant mind remained free, his ancient heart filled not with regret or bitterness, but with the quiet, profound satisfaction of knowing what his extraordinary gift had accomplished for humankind. He became and remains a powerful symbol of courage, of enduring love, of selfless sacrifice, and of the unwavering spirit that dares to put the well-being and potential of others above all personal cost. His suffering was long, but his spirit was unbroken, and the light he brought into the world would never fade. Through the many, many ages that gently followed, humanity, now warmed and brightly lit by the stolen flame, flourished in ways that Prometheus could never have imagined in his impulsive generosity, and perhaps even the mighty Zeus had not fully foreseen in his stern wisdom. Small, vulnerable villages grew steadily into thriving towns, and these towns, in turn, blossomed into grand, bustling cities. Crude tools became more refined, more effective, and more intricate, allowing for greater innovation. Art, in all its beautiful forms, from cave paintings to sculptures, from music to storytelling, began to blossom and enrich their lives, giving expression to their newfound sense of wonder and creativity. The first whispers of science and profound philosophy emerged, as minds, freed from constant fear, turned to understanding the universe around them. They learned to build mighty ships that sailed the vast, unpredictable seas, venturing to new lands and connecting distant peoples. They learned to cultivate the barren land with patient hands, transforming wild earth into fertile fields that provided abundant sustenance. The fire, once a tiny spark carefully hidden in a fennel stalk, became the very heart of their homes, fueling their industries, warming their communities, and igniting their boundless imagination. It allowed them to create, to connect, to thrive, and to constantly push the boundaries of what was possible. The enduring legacy of Prometheus was thus woven, irrevocably and beautifully, into the very fabric of their existence, an unspoken covenant between a compassionate Titan and the burgeoning, hopeful spirits of mankind. His gift illuminated not just their world, but their very souls. Even now, as you lie comfortably in your own warm space, perhaps gently illuminated by a modern heating system or the soft, reassuring glow of a lamp by your bedside, you are, in a profound and subtle way, experiencing the echoes of Prometheus's magnificent ancient gift. Every flame, every spark, every source of controlled light and comforting heat that brightens your world carries within it a distant yet palpable memory of that first defiant act of kindness. It is a quiet reminder that compassion, pure and unwavering, can spark profound revolution, that boundless generosity can light the way through the deepest darkness, and that, even in the face of immense, insurmountable power, a single, selfless act of love can irrevocably change the course of destiny for countless generations, forever altering the path of the world. The story of Prometheus, dear listener, is not just about the element of fire itself. It is about much more. It is about the profound wisdom of foresight, about the boundless depth of empathy, and about the quiet, unwavering courage to give, even when the cost is unimaginably high. It is a gentle yet powerful testament to the enduring human spirit and the divine spark of creativity and goodness that resides, waiting to be kindled, within each and every one of us, connecting us all to that ancient, warming glow. As we gently conclude our journey through this ancient and heartwarming tale, let the soft, persistent glow of Prometheus's extraordinary gift remain with you, a comforting presence in the quiet of the night. May the warmth he so generously shared remind you of the profound kindness that exists in the world, and the light he brought of the endless, beautiful possibilities that await your waking thoughts, like the dawn after a long night. Tonight, my dear friends, may your dreams be peaceful and wonderfully bright, like the enduring embers of an ancient, well-tended fire, bringing deep comfort and restorative rest to your weary mind and gentle spirit. Drift into slumber now, knowing that even in the deepest darkness, a spark of hope, of innovation, and of love can always be found, waiting to be rekindled. Sweet dreams, dear listeners. And if you found comfort and delight in this quiet journey into the peaceful corners of mythology, perhaps you might consider subscribing to MythOwl so you can join us again for more gentle, calming stories to guide you softly through the night. Good night.